Raven in Atlanta. You're up with
See,
Minda.
hello, Minda.
Hi.
Obviously, I could echo everything everybody's already said. I'm just going to say, as someone who's run marathons in his life and has no desire to have his head kicked in the water, that's good enough for me in terms of you got me there with triathlon. I'll put it that way.
All right.
What I wanted to focus on with my question is there's a difference between being resilient and being persistently resilient. And I wanted to go to the time period between your Konas of the one that you were pulled off the course to the one that you ultimately completed. And I wanted to understand what was it that allowed you to continue to be resilient over a long period of time, particularly with any fears, doubts, anxieties that you may have had given the last experience?
All right, that's a good question. Um, I, I think it's about like understanding the purpose. Um, like I was so devastated coming out of 2012. I didn't want that to happen again. And when I think about that purpose, about just like not regretting, not trying again, I felt like that really consumed me because I was like, I'm going to do everything in my power to get it done. And I made a lot of changes in order to not only shift my mindset, but how I prepared was different. And then having that, like, I guess, unrelenting perseverance on race day really helped me to put everything that I had done in practice um, like in a race and being able to get to that finish line. And I think when you have a goal, it like you have to have some emotion behind it. Like, and for me, there was a lot of emotion behind it because when you have emotion behind a goal, like you are going to do the work to get it done and you will not like have excuses for yourself. And I think that was really the key in motivating me to really do everything possible to get it done. And like some of the things that I did differently, like you know, like triathlon is like a singular sport, right? But I really had to enroll a lot of others in helping me become as prepared as possible for that race, right? So like I got additional coaches. Like I knew that swimming is like, oh, so difficult for me. And I got really anxious in the water. So I worked with a separate swimming coach. I had physical therapy. So because everything's upper body and making sure that I got work done. It was almost like I was a professional athlete, but not a professional athlete because, you know, I still had a job, but just trying to bring in the right people to help me close the gap or become better in whatever I was trying to do. But the really key that really changed for me was having that self-belief. And I can't underestimate the power of self-belief, right? Um, like when you're up against history, like you don't have a model to go from, right? Like I had sought mentorship from other male athletes that had finished the course. And I actually had an article that I read that year, and it really changed me. And it was written by like this triathlete. His name is Chris McCormick. He talked about like the story of the Wimbledon finals in 1987. Like it was Pat Cash. He was like it was like this true David and Goliath story. Like Yvonne Lindell. I don't know if this is too late. It was 1987. He was one of the best players at the time, but he was favored to beat Cash, but then Cash beat him. He walked right through him to win the title. And then when he was asked afterwards, like they asked him how he did it, he said, most people think you have to see it to believe it, but I think you have to believe it before you see it. And when I read those words, like it really dawned on me that like I was literally the one holding myself back. And so I declared in writing that I'm going to shelve my fear. I wrote this email to my closest friends and family members, basically saying that I truly believed that I could do it. And that attitude I carried all the way through race day. Like the race day was filled with challenges, right? Like, you know, I was up against these time limits, like on the bike segment, like, you know, I get an upset stomach. Like I'm like burning up in the sun. Like I'm all alone cranking through a series of lava beds. Like I realized, oh my gosh, like I have 90 minutes to go and I only have 18 miles. I really had to shift my thinking and realize like they're gonna have to peel me off this course because I will do everything to get it done. Like I really wanted it so bad. And like I remember like cranking through those final like hills, and I made it into transition. I heard on the loudspeaker, like it was 5:27 p.m. and I only made that cutoff time by 3 minutes. And I really believe that it was that change in my preparation. It was like that self-belief and this like undying purpose that like I was going to do everything I could to get it done. And then by the time I got onto the run, I knew I was going to make it to the finish line.
It's incredible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Unbelievable.